Chapter 24. As she flipped the switch, we heard familiar heavy, grinding sounds outside in the marble chamber. Being nearer the door, I took a look-see. I wasn't the least bit surprised to see a set of stairs rising up in the marble room leading straight up to one of the walls of fire. Arlene joined me in pondering this new development. Neither of us seemed to be in a great hurry to run up those stairs. "Do you feel fireproof?" she asked me. I left my asbestos pajamas back on Earth. Quote, "Maybe there's an opening we can't see from down here. We can only dream," I sighed. I went first. She was close behind, though. As soon as it became too hot, I had every intention of stopping. I didn't feel any heat at all. Arlene noticed as well. "This isn't a bit like Campfire Girls," she said. "By now, all the marshmallows in my pocket should be screaming out, 'Put me on a stick.' You have marshmallows?" "No, I don't think it's a real flame." "Wait here, Arlene. If I catch on fire or die of heat stroke, you'll know there was something wrong with my theory." Another 10 steps up the stairs convinced me that I was definitely onto something. 10 more steps and I was becoming certain. I still wasn't hot as I walked right up to the curtain of seething flame and very slowly put my hand out. The hand went right through the fire, disappearing from view without causing yours truly the least discomfort. I didn't even get a blister. "Arlene," I called out, "the fire is an illusion. Come on up." I walked right through, then turned around where the fire should be, and there was nothing there but the welcome sight of Arlene coming up the stairs. "Arlene, can you see me?" I asked. "No," she answered, staring right at me. "You've disappeared behind the fire." For my next illusion, I announced with my best stage magician's voice, and stepped back through where the curtain had to be. "I pull something cool out of my hat." "Like a beer?" she asked, taking the last steps 2 at a time so we stood on the same level. "No beer, but I do have a surprise." She was curious, and I bent from the waist, gesturing through the curtain. She preceded me to the big surprise. "Oh, no," she said, "not another teleporter." We were both pretty worn down by this point, but a new teleporter meant we had to make a decision. What we needed was a map to show us the location of all the frying pans and fires. So should we bother with this one or not? She sighed. "We'd better try it, Fly. We've got to find a way off this moon. And this is pretty carefully hidden away. Let's give it a shot, hun." "Who's first this time?" I asked. She hooked her arm in mine. "Let's do it together again." Weapons out, we stepped aboard. With a flash of light, we zapped to a huge room shaped like the spokes of a wagon wheel. 6 hell princes surrounded us. 6 monstrous mouths opened. 6 monstrous throats emitted guttural screams. 12 angry, red eyes burned at us in the dim light. The hell princes were not the only ones screaming. Arlene and I screamed, too. This was a sight to make anyone howl at the moon. As the green fireballs began exploding all around us, we simply lost it, running around like chickens with their legs cut off, shooting wildly. There was nowhere to run, but we sure as hell tried. "Duck!" we shouted at each other at about the same time. The balls of energy made fireworks over our heads. Our gunfire was nothing more than a quiet popping in that chaos, mild raindrops, but we kept firing, me with my shotgun, and Arlene with her AB-10. I found a door by pure, random chance. Praying for a miracle, I hollered for Arlene and yanked the door open, and now I was surrounded by a dozen floating pumpkins. Frying pans and fires, definitely frying pans and pumpkins. Arlene screamed something from the chamber with the hell princes, but I couldn't hear her over my own screaming. This situation was fast becoming unacceptable. There were too many pumpkins even to think about shooting. Death, doom, and destruction from all directions. I ran as fast as I could, right back into the room with the hell princes. I wasn't thinking very clearly, but Arlene still had her head screwed on. Her hand snaked out and grabbed me. She'd stepped inside another of the spoke chambers and now hauled me inside with her. I imagined wall-to-wall demons waiting for us, zombies stacked like cordwood to the ceiling, imp tartar, but inside, for the moment, was nothing but Arlene and yours truly. She held a finger against her lips. I braced myself for the bad guys to come after us and imagined the absolute worst. A tidal wave of sound crashed on us. Roaring, screaming, crashing. But all that came through that doorway was sound. The pumpkins and the Hell Princes collided in a torrent of blood and vengeance. There were so many monsters that they took a long time to die. At least 15 minutes Arlene and I crouched in our little closet of safety as the pumpkins splattered themselves against the horned heads of the Hell Princes. Blue balls of energy evaporated against lethal lightning bolts. Blood flowed thick on the floor. We stayed right where we were. Finally, there was beautiful silence. We heard each other's breathing. Who goes first? Arlene whispered. What do you mean? Who takes a peek? I raised my hand as if I were back in grade school. Cautiously I poked my head outside the star-pointed hideaway. A single Hell Prince remained on its feet. I pulled back inside our hideaway and reported. Then why isn't he at the doorway threatening to rip our lungs out? I looked past her. The Hell Prince loomed in the doorway, waiting too. It looked like yesterday's lunch today. Arlene saw my face, followed my eyes, and saw it. I grabbed for my rocket launcher, but it was gone from the webbing, dropped. In panic in one of the 2 rooms, of course. Arlene pointed her AB-10. That won't work, I shouted. The pea shooter, against the most powerful monster we'd run into. Had she gone insane? She pulled the trigger 3 times, and thrice the hammer clicked on an empty chamber. She stared as the mauled, bloody beast staggered forward like Frankenstein's monster, clutching at her. Winding up like the mud hen's star pitcher, she heaved the gun into the Minotaur's ugly face. Good God, I'm watching an old episode of Superman, I thought. It blinked. The horned head shook slowly back and forth, left to right, as if trying to remember something. Then it fell, straight as a toppling redwood, to the cold marble, dead. And I didn't even know he was sick, said Arlene. We both burst into hysterical laughter, stress released. The floor was slippery with slick, tacky pumpkin juice, and we almost slipped several times. Clambering across the body of another Hell Prince, Arlene pushed into the pumpkin's room and shouted, "You won't believe this." What? I was hunting for my good pal, Mr. Launcher. Get your butt in here. Please get your butt in here, Corporal. There it was. I snagged it and clambered after her. The light was flickering, but I could see well enough. Crucified on the walls were the mutilated bodies of 4 Hell Princes, with spidery trails of dried blood extending from their hands, if those hams with claws on the end could be called hands. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. What the hell is going on here? Blasphemy, chanted my memory nuns, demons crucified in mockery of our Lord. The Hell Princes were killed a long time ago. The dried blood told us that much. We made a circuit of the chamber and found plastic spheres with cracks, so that they could swing open or close as easily. All the spheres were empty, but they were just the size to hold pumpkins. Pumpkin nests, said Arlene. I stared a while longer at the 4 crucified bodies of the Minotaurs. My God, it must have been the damned pumpkins themselves put the princes up there. They must hate them worse than they do us. It was a religious revelation for both of us. No wonder it's so easy to pit them against each other, said Arlene in awe. They despise and loathe each other so much, they proudly display each other's ripped carcasses. She looked up at me, face lighting up. Jesus, fly, we have a chance to win. I saw where she was headed. I had thought that the monster aliens were simply so bad-tempered that when a zombie stumbled in the way of an imp, fireball, or a demon took a bullet meant for one of us, they lost their concentration and turned on each other with mindless ferocity. But mindless ferocity didn't explain the cold, deliberate crucifixion of hell princes by pumpkins, did it? Such a contemplative act required a deep, abiding animosity or hatred, and the single-minded determination to torture. Something, the mastermind, held them together, but left to themselves, the natural inclination of each monster would be to hunt down all the other kinds and kill them. The thought certainly suggested our tactic: kill the damned mastermind, and let nature take her course. Now the only question was where in this hell that mastermind was. We continued searching the pumpkin room. We found it stuffed with ammo. Everything from rockets to shells to rounds for Arlene's depleted AB-10. The various firefights had run us dry. After loading up, we pushed past one of the crucified Hell Prince bodies and checked out the rest of the wagon wheel. Not a creature was stirring, not even a zombie. Shall we teleport? Asked Arlene. After what happened the last time we teleported, we going to spend the rest of our lives on this karmic wheel? Quote, Après-vous, Bodhisattva. We teleported together. Appearing on a platform in a metallic room, we saw a door with blue trim that sure as shootin' required a blue key card. Arlene went over and put her ear to it. I hear what might be a lift operating, I guess we go that-a-way. Key, who's got the key? I asked. Another typical day on the job. Teleport, get a key, open a door, find a teleport. Arlene smiled. I guess we're in a rut.